Right, let's sort some money for you to buy this house. The deposit is the starting point for any property purchase, and there are numerous ways you can get this together. In most cases, money for a deposit comes from a range of places. Savings. This might not always be fun, but it's massively satisfying achievement. Putting away money each week, fortnight, or month to buy your first home. Commit to an amount after you've set your budget and stick to it. Remember, it's better to commit less and wind up saving a bit more than to overcommit and find you're short and have to dip into your savings account. In an ideal world, you would label your account House Savings or something fun like, hell yes, I'm buying a house, and never touch it. KiwiSaver. This has become a common way for young New Zealanders to get into their first home. KiwiSaver is a voluntary savings scheme set up by the government which allows you to put away at least 3% of your wages for retirement. And now there is even an option to contribute up to 12%. The scheme builds up over time and you can withdraw funds to either purchase your first home or when you reach age 65, retire. With the program now running for over 15 years, a lot of people have a decent chunk of funds sitting in their KiwiSaver. There is no requirement to buy your first home for a certain price or to have a certain amount of income in order to participate in KiwiSaver. The criteria are actually pretty simple. You need to be an approved KiwiSaver scheme for 3 years or more before you can withdraw funds. You need to be over 18 years of age. You need to be a first home buyer or the same position as a first home buyer. This means not having more than a 20% deposit or assets you could sell to accumulate more than a 20% deposit. You need to live in the property you buy for at least 12 months. To apply for withdrawal, you'll need to contact your provider, which could be a standard bank, an investment company, or a KiwiSaver specific scheme. This is simply a call to let them know you'd like to apply to withdraw funds, and they'll send you a letter showing the balance for which you are eligible. The actual withdrawal of the money in your KiwiSaver is actually completed by your solicitor once you've found a property to buy. We'll talk a bit more about that when we discuss the approval process. First Home Grant. The First Home Grant is money available from Kāinga Ora to assist you with your deposit to purchase a property. You can receive between $3,000 and $5,000 for an existing property and between $6,000 and $10,000 for a new home, depending on how long you've been contributing to KiwiSaver, 3, 4 or 5 plus years. This money is non-repayable, but there are a few boxes to tick, and these criteria can change. So here's a current guide for the things you'll need to do to qualify alongside the KiwiSaver criteria mentioned in the point above. Earn under the income threshold of $95,000 for an individual, $150,000 for an individual with one or more dependents, or $150,000 for a couple or joint ownership scenario, regardless of how many dependents you have. Be a permanent resident of New Zealand with no visa travel conditions, or a New Zealand citizen. Have contributed to KiwiSaver for at least 3 years. These years do not have to be consecutive. A common example of this is maternity leave or spending some time living and working overseas. And have contributed at least 3% of your overall income from all sources. Have at least 5% deposit in total. If you have any gifted money, you'll need to complete a declaration. Live in the house you buy for at least 6 months. Meet the house price caps for your region. The best way to get the most up-to-date version of this is to Google house price caps for First Home Grant and you'll find it online. They change quite regularly. I also want to note that the house price caps mentioned above generally have a different value for an existing home as opposed to a newly built home. At the time of writing, in most cases, this is about $50,000 more. If you are building a home, see additional information in the Building a Home, What You Need to Know chapter. You may be eligible for double the grant amount, as well as having a slightly higher cap to fall within.